My name is Dan Cakora. I am a business consultant here at Vendavo. And what that means is I talk to our customers and our prospects about what they're doing in pricing and commercial excellence. Pricing power is the ability to charge what your product or service is worth. And it means you're proactive. It means you're not just reacting to the competition. Everybody else is doing this thing, so I'm going to follow them. Rather, it means you're a leader. You have an opinion on what your pricing should be. And moreover, you have to be disciplined, which means similar customers buying similar products should pay similar prices. An organization's pricing power all starts at the beginning, and that beginning is comparative advantage. I'm an economist, so of course I'm going to give an answer like that. Having comparative advantage means that you have a great product or service that is clearly differentiated from the market. It's something that you do better than anybody else. You need to define that, put some value on it, and then price that. And I have to tell you that this requires some level of intellectual honesty and humility, but really it's leaning into what you're good at and putting a price on it. Let's start with the positive first, and I want to begin with differentiation, a clearly articulated value proposition. And what that means, if you have that, is you understand your customers, what they want, what they need, and how you can help them. From an internal perspective, pricing power comes from strong operations, and that means having the systems in place to accommodate differentiated prices and the discipline to enforce those standards. If we're thinking about negatives or things that make it tough to exert pricing power, again, we'll take a look at the external competition. It might be catching up. It might have closed the gap between you and the competitors. What you're doing, what used to make you special, might no longer be the case. In a lot of parts of the world, when it comes to differentiation, it's a red queen's race, which means you always have to be running faster to keep ahead of everybody. I have seen negative pricing power come about because of poor operational execution, which means you don't have the ability or mechanism to change price fast enough. It could mean that you have Wild West pricing and your sales team hands out sweetheart deals left and right. You can't have that situation and be a powerful pricing organization. Improving pricing is the fastest, most impactful way to grow your margin. So the ability to push through a price increase is tied directly to growth. In the past few years, I have seen companies successfully push across the board price increases, and that was mostly due to supply chain constraints during the pandemic. Nowadays, companies need targeted, small, usually precise price actions to capture additional profitability. Most of the time that means going up, sometimes that means coming down, just making sure that you are in line with the market. You have to survey the market. That means taking a look at what your competition is doing. I do not like strictly benchmarking the competition. That would be they're charging $10, so I'm going to charge $10, or they're charging $10 and I want to be 50 cents above or below that. That takes the pricing power out of your hands and it outsources one of your most critical strategic decisions to your competition, and they don't have your best interest at heart. So take a look around, see what they're doing, and then also look internally. If you're seeing a big drop off, perhaps in your win rate or your average sell price for a grouping of products starts to fall, that could be an indication that people aren't even considering you anymore, or they're negotiating very hard. You might need to reset things to make sure that you're not overriding too much or otherwise giving away too much margin. So if you're just starting out, that's one of the fun times. You have to get your data, comb through it a bit, and see what's out there. Pick the easy one first. The reason for that is you need to collect a few wins to grow your credibility within the organization, and then you can move on to more complex topics. Achieving growth and profitability is the thing for manufacturers and distributors. This is especially important nowadays with interest rates being elevated. We used to be in a ZIRP or zero interest rate policy environment where it was very cheap to borrow money. You can't do that nowadays because it's so much more expensive to borrow. So that means you have to be profitable so you can earn your keep. If you don't know if your organization has pricing power, start small. Find things that are in the tail end of your product portfolio that aren't going to jump up on a radar for a customer if you change the price. Once you try, you can see if it worked or it didn't work, and you can check and adjust from there. The things that lead to pricing power today may not be what give you pricing power tomorrow. So sometimes that means you're going to be basing your price on your competition. Sometimes that means you're going to be taking cost into account such as what happened during the pandemic when there were huge underlying cost increases. Other times that means you need to really think about the good, better, best value that you're bringing to your customers. And in those instances, your transactional data is your best friend. Regardless, you're going to need to maintain agility because the focus of what your business needs to do at any given time to have pricing power is going to shift. Making sure you can roll with the tide is usually your best bet.